You know what? When I was in my first year of high school, when I first started getting like mixed friends, like mixed Japanese friends, we watched your video.
Okay. Yeah.
We watched your video.
Yeah. You mentioned this a little bit before.
Gosh, this is amazing though, because we made a video like 10 years ago called 12 things
10 years ago.
12 things that have Japanese people get.
It's like nine years ago.
All
but
the time.
I'm not counting, but it's
Something
like 9.
like that. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. But that video, I swear every Hafu in the world has seen that video. And it's just like this really solidifies it because you and your Hafu friends watched that video.
Yeah.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Well, that's alright. That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
She's got it. Yeah, Shizuka's pretty good at this.
That's not a knife.
My turn. That's not a. That's not a knife. Knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Oh, it hurts me to. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Half and Half podcast. This is episode 4. We're back again, and Shizuka, why don't you do the introduction for our new guest?
The introduction, that was it.
I mean, for sure, we have a guest here.
All right, everybody. So, welcome back to the Half and Half podcast. This is Max. I'm Shizuka. We have special guest, Miss Sharnie Fenn, with us today.
Hi.
And Sharnie is really awesome. She's a lawyer and a model, which I cannot think of a cooler combination.
Aw,
That's just
thank you.
very badass. And she's got a really cool TikTok where she has very cute videos, like pranking her grandma, her Japanese grandma.
That's how I found out about you.
That was the video?
You were pranking. She was pranking her Japanese grandma. We're gonna have to put a clip in here somewhere, but of you putting her name as like a tattoo on your body.
Yes, I saw that too.
Or pretending dressing up as a guy dating you, right?
Yeah,
as
that's
Eric
the one.
or something.
Yeah.
And she went along with it for a little bit.
Hello, today I'm going to dress up as a boy and see what my grandma says when I introduce myself as my boyfriend.
おはよう。シャーにね、彼氏できたからばあちゃんに紹介したいの。
They're already a little bit bushy, but I'm gonna make them a little bit more bushier.
今彼氏が遊びに来たからちょっと電話してみる？
はいはい。
あ、はじめまして。
はじめまして。
エリックです。
ばあちゃんです。今日はどうですか？天気はいいですか？
あ、はい、東京結構天気いいです。
あら、なんだそうですねって、シャーニーでないの？
I think it's so funny because I was, I have a Japanese grandma. I was like, oh man, I wish like I did something like that. That would have been hilarious. So
That's adorable. I think it's the funnest, like the cutest family thing to do on TikTok. It's super cute.
I don't want to do any pranks that'll give a heart attack. So I do like
yeah, of course.
I do safe pranks.
Safe pranks.
Very tame pranks.
Yeah. And she can tell, like, it's obvious that you've done it multiple times. So it's at this point, she's probably expecting something.
Yeah.
That's super cute. Yeah. So anyway, that's if you guys want to check out Sharnie's stuff, she's on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all of that stuff.
Yes.
And Sharnie, of course, also Hafu, like us. Like the whole team, we also have Kai here today.
Hi guys.
Koji Mochi's in the back, as usual. We're all haps today.
He's running stuff behind the scenes.
Yes.
So it's a Hafu party today.
It is a Hafu party. Ooh. But let's talk about Sharnie a little bit. You're from Australia originally. Or were you born in Australia or were you born in Japan?
I was actually born in Sendai.
Okay.
And then I lived in Sendai until I was 4. And then I moved to Australia. And then I've been in Australia ever since.
Wow.
So my dad's Australian. My mum is Japanese.
Okay. And you went... Well, most of your life you were in Australia going to school and you've just moved to Japan maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And as a lawyer, or was this, you came as a lawyer to Japan, or what was the process here?
I actually went to Komazawa Daigaku for exchange for 6 months and then I loved it. I was like, Japan's awesome. Like, I want to live here. And then I came here for work, like modeling work. And then I got my lawyer license like 3 months ago. I'm very fresh.
Very fresh.
Very fresh.
Ooh.
And yeah, so the legal stuff I've only been doing recently.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to do that do these licenses transfer like internationally for Australian law, Japanese law, or?
No. So there's like I have to do 2 years experience in my home country, like where I got my law qualification, and then I can transfer it. But I don't have any experience in Australia yet working as a lawyer, so I can't technically use my qualification in Japan.
Oh, okay. So how are you working in Japan as a lawyer?
Yeah.
I work at an international firm, so it's not like Japanese law.
Oh, okay.
Technically. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you get to actually use what you studied in Australia in your
which
job
is good.
now.
Yeah.
What kind of and what do you practice, or what is the? I guess not. What do you say? Niche? I don't like. What? How do you say this for lawyers?
I say niche.
Well,
because
no. I mean, like, well, how do you? Are you a divorce lawyer? Are you a accidents lawyer or tax? All this.
I work at a family law firm, so we do like divorce, like international divorce, inheritance, things like that.
Ooh.
Those are some really fascinating issues.
Yeah.
We could probably even do a whole episode on like some of those issues.
You want to talk about
deal
divorce?
with. No,
Divorce. Let's talk about.
this is also a Hafu issue, like international marriage.
Yeah.
What happens to the custody of the kids and all that. So that is a pretty heavy topic. Maybe we can have you on another time to talk about that. But today, I think it'd be really cool to talk about your experiences, like growing up as a Hafu in Australia and then come back to Japan. And also, I really want to hear about your experiences like modeling, because you also did Asia's Next Top Model.
I did, yeah.
Which is really cool. And did you do that in Australia? Or where was that?
I did that while I was in Australia.
Okay.
But the filming was in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
Okay.
Thailand.
And that was what year? 2018 or something?
2018? So
Okay.
I think I was... What's that?
I don't know.
What's that? What's 2020?
Oh,
See,
it's
I told you I
minus-
can't do maths. I was like, I told you. I was like,
You said you were good at
I
that.
thought you said, yeah.
Oh, 4 years ago.
Earlier, she just said she was good at math because she did like Japanese school in Australia. It was like she had to go to school and learn math again on top of the Australian school.
minus
Double
4 だから.
Minus 4.
Minus 4だから,
Okay.
I was 20.
Okay. Oh, this it only took 30 seconds. Don't worry. I'm also equally as bad. I don't want to even go there.
No, it's all good. I'm the worst probably out of everybody here, so I'm not even one to talk.
By the way, guys, I'm sorry for interrupting, but we forgot to mention my hair. So for for a lot of the viewers, like we haven't even talked about it. I was Zorro for Halloween, and I actually dyed my hair. So
Yeah.
that explains the viewers who are actually watching this on YouTube.
Oh, this
That
dude?
explains my hair. Yeah, I was just
Oh,
Yes, Zorro is back here.
You watch One Piece?
no.
Okay. All right. As per usual. I'm surprised you even got this, especially since.
Yeah, I
Oh, because you saw the
it said
name.
Zorro,
Okay,
and I was
but
like,
I was like, yeah, he doesn't actually have green hair here. But
Yes, but that was
he's an
cool
idol.
because our last episode we talked about Halloween in Shibuya in Japan, and you actually went to Shibuya Halloween
Yes. So.
as Zorro, and those pictures were pretty badass. So,
arigatou gozaimasu.
but make sure those pictures are in
Katajikenai.
the YouTube video here. You guys can check that out.
Yes, but
Yes.
yeah. Sorry to derail that.
Yes,
but
just to
I just
answer
had to
your
mention it
questions,
because some
yes.
people were probably 7 minutes into this video like, why has Max got green hair? Doesn't make sense.
Yes. Anyway, back to our main story. So, actually, yeah, I want to know. So, you actually grew up in Sendai until you were 4, and then you moved to Australia. Did you feel a significant culture shock when you first moved to Australia?
To be honest, I don't remember because I was 4.
Okay.
But my mom, like my parents told me that when I first went to Australia, like my first language was Japanese. So when I went to Australia, apparently, like I couldn't speak English. Like I couldn't speak English at all. So I went through a phase where I just wouldn't talk at all because I couldn't speak English and no one could understand Japanese. So I was having like trouble communicating with other kids. So I did preschool twice. Like what's it called?
Did 2
Oh,
years?
what
Yeah.
is it called?
Unit?
Repeat?
Unit? Yeah, I repeated
You're
it.
held
I-
back. Like that's the thing no one wants to hear. I got held back.
I did preschool twice because the first year I didn't talk to anyone. And then they like my teachers said, we think that she should do it again so she can make friends. And then so I did preschool again and then I finally started learning English.
Wow.
So before you could not speak English.
Yeah.
Wow.
And apparently I was like this silent kid, and I just like sat in the sandbox and made like onigiri.
Oh,
Imagine
that's so cute.
It's also kind of sad at the same time. Kawaii to kawaiso. It's like at the same time.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's kawaii and kawaiso,
Oh.
which means cute and like unfortunate. Like,
Oh, okay.
oh, so does your dad speak Japanese? Because your dad's Australian, right?
Yeah, he does. So my dad speaks Japanese, but my mum doesn't speak English. So our household, we speak mainly Japanese, like a mix.
Hey,
Oh, this is a new one.
Like
That's
70% Japanese, 30% English, I think.
Wow, that's.
Ooh.
I'm always used to hearing like the English, Japanese person has to learn English or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's different for you. It's your
Yeah.
dad is the one who speaks the other language.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So your parents met in Japan, I take it?
They met in Australia, but they came back to Japan. And then until I was 4, my dad was in Japan. So I think he spent like 5 or 6 years in Japan, and he was working as an English teacher. And that's how he learned Japanese.
Wow. Good
Very
for
nice.
him for
Yeah.
like picking up the language so fast as well. And
Yeah.
now that's just the main mode of communication.
Yeah, my mom's lived in Australia like 20 plus years, and she's like, no English for me. She doesn't know. Like, she can understand it, but she doesn't speak English.
Okay.
So
I get that. Yeah. There's definitely a big struggle for Japanese people who have to move abroad for
Yeah.
various reasons, especially if like it's with the family. And I think some Japanese people, because of their personal experiences, like sometimes with discrimination, they feel less confident to actually speak it.
that's what my mum went through. So someone teased my mum like with her English pronunciation, and then from there it's just like trauma.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have the confidence to speak English anymore, so she kind of lost it at an early stage when she came to Australia. So she doesn't like try to speak English.
Oh my goodness. That's actually the same with my mom.
And my
really?
mom.
What? Really?
Well, no, she does, but you know, she has a lot of. I don't know. I don't want to say self-doubt, but you know,
Yeah.
because of how people might have treated, like, ostracize her a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that she can't feel accepted. There's not like a big support group, and so she speaks great English in my opinion, but she always says, I can't speak English. I'm like, you're speaking it right now.
Yeah,
You
that's what my mom does. That's what my mom does. Like,
You're saying everything, you know, you understand everything I'm saying right now. Obviously, you know, I would say I speak Japanese, but I don't understand 100%, especially in like certain situations, but
Yeah.
it doesn't stop me. But
Yeah.
obviously we have a different upbringing than
We
our
have a different
parents.
experience with discrimination, I think, from our Japanese mothers. And my mom is also very, like, she speaks English very well, and my mom was a single mom, so she had to work. So obviously she was using English, but there were times where she felt really, like, I think at home she wouldn't speak English at all because she just didn't like it. She used it because she had to, but she didn't feel confident about her accent and all that. So I guess that's a more common thing than I realized, since all 3 of our moms have that kind of an issue.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow.
It's probably the generation gap. I feel like now, people who are young and Asian women go abroad. It's just, I don't know, but to me, it feels like the stigma, if you have an accent, is like way less, especially since Asian culture and stuff like that is more popular nowadays. That it's a little bit more accepting, and I would feel like people are a little more comfortable now traveling abroad, especially with the internet. Like, if you feel alone, you have your phone and you can like get support somewhere through social media or somebody that you can look up, you know, on the internet. Like, I need help, you know, I live abroad, I don't speak the language, what do I do?
Right.
For our parents, it was not like that.
No, yeah, there was no, you couldn't really seek help. So it was very isolating.
Yes.
In those days. But on that same thread, when you went to Australia as a child, and you were growing up there, did you also feel like you experienced discrimination from like other adults, other children? Like, what was your experience as
the discrimination talk.
Hafu Japanese?
let's unpack it.
Unpack this.
So when I was growing up, like in primary school, in my school, it was like predominantly white Australians. So all my friends were blonde, blue-eyed, and they were Asian kids, but there was only like a handful of us. There wasn't many of us. So I remember like primary school, I was kind of bullied for like looking Asian. Just like, I'm sure like you guys have probably like had similar comments, but like your eyes are so small, or your food smells, or your food's disgusting, or just like things like that. But as a kid, that stuff hurts you. And I was so like self-conscious of the fact that I was Asian, because like in my head I thought like being Asian equaled being like not cool or being ugly. And so like I remember like I regret this so much, but I remember like telling my mom I don't want to take like onigiri or Japanese bento to school. Like I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be like looked at as the Asian, so I would just try and be like everyone else as possible.
Right.
But
I get that. Yeah.
How long do you think you were like that for?
I think until high school, because when I went into high school, it was a lot more multicultural. There was a lot more Asian kids. There was a lot more mixed kids as well. So that kind of died away as I got older. But primary school was like when there was a lot of, I guess kids just weren't educated. Like they don't have any experience with people who look different to them, I guess. But
and we're talking about primary school as in what, 4th grade, 5th grade range. So what is that? That puts you at like 10, 11 years old?
Until I was about 11 or 12.
Oh, this is funny though, because that's, you know, you're 24 now.
Yeah.
I'm 32. So that means I'm what, 8 years older? So that's like right around like the YouTube era started.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah.
So when I was in my first year of high school, when I first started getting like mixed friends, like mixed Japanese friends.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We watched your video.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We're bringing this story. Yeah. You mentioned this a little bit before.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing though, because we made a video like 10 years ago called 12 things
10 years ago.
12 things that half Japanese people get.
It's like nine years ago.
All the time.
I'm not counting, but it's
Something
like 9.
like that. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. But that video, I swear every Hafu in the world has seen that video. And it's just like, this really solidifies it, because you and your Hafu friends watched that video.
Yeah. Because when I was that age, there was still not many like mixed Japanese people who were on social media.
Right.
And so
that's why we made the video, because there were some, but it was very few.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, but we were in Shinjuku, Cold Stone, like Lumine, when we planned out our 12 things half Japanese people get all the time video.
Is that where we planned it?
I think so.
Okay.
And I don't know if I was planning it there or I was showing you the videos that were already out, but a lot of the Hapa half Japanese, half Asian content was kind of like depressing stuff.
Oh,
and to me, I was like, this doesn't represent how I actually feel about everything. You know, like, yeah, there's like some things that are, you know, hard, maybe that was difficult growing up, or things that you hear all the time or that you get all the time. And the way I was seeing it, it's like, yeah, I get it all the time, but sometimes I don't take this as all negative stuff. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, this is what happens, but whatever. So that was the whole idea. When we were planning this video, we saw the other content out there at the time, and this was like 2013, 14. Yeah. And that was kind of what drove the idea for that video. It's like, let's
just put it out there. We're like, yeah, I mean, we could talk about things we hear all the time, like being half Japanese in Japan, but also a little bit about like what we felt like people said when we were in Canada and America. Yeah. So apparently that's.
But you're in high school. You said
relatable.
Freshman. You're a freshman. You said, or
yeah, I was junior. I can't remember if it was my late primary school years or my high school years, but I watched it, and I remember because like I watched it and I was like, there's people out there who are like me. So
oh my god, that's crazy, because that's literally why we made it. We're like, somebody younger than us will need to see this. So because we went through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we went through college, and it was basically like me and you thinking we need to kind of share this experience, because we wish we knew this when we were younger.
Also, because both you and I don't think we grew up with other half Asian kids, right?
Not many, no. Not.
For me, elementary, junior high, I can't remember there being any other half Asian kids. So I didn't even acknowledge that I was half Asian. I knew it, obviously. I just didn't know it was a thing. Yeah. Like, I really didn't know. It's weird to say that, but I didn't know it was a thing. I never met anybody else who was half Asian. to me, I was just Asian. Like, I thought I just like went in that category because I didn't know half Asian was a category until, I think in high school there were a couple of people who were also half Asian, but I couldn't believe it because actually this is kind of funny because I took a Japanese class in high school, and there was another girl in that class who was half Japanese, and I think in my gym class there was another girl who was half Japanese, but they said they were, but I didn't believe them.
Why?
Because
What is that?
to me, so I was the only like example of what a half Asian looks like until this point in my life, and I look very Asian. And they didn't look Asian at all. So I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't understand.
Are you sure?
Like, I couldn't process it. I was like, you don't look Asian.
Whoa.
And that's weird coming from me because I was putting some ingrained stereotypes against them for not looking Asian. But at the same time, I also experienced that on my end for looking too Asian for being a Hafu. So it's weird how that is all kind of interconnected. But I really didn't know anybody growing up properly who was like half Japanese. So this university was the first time I really felt the community.
It all culminated around like the whole YouTube era too, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube started, so, you know, obviously we were in college, but because YouTube existed, it was like, oh, this is a place we can share our experiences. And then it has expanded, and now, I don't know, we got terms like Wasian, Blasian, Blackanese.
Do people say Wasian? I've never heard that before.
You haven't heard Wasian?
No, have you?
I've heard Wasian,
Yeah.
So we're
You're not really on like TikTok.
No,
So
like,
Shizuka needs to get on.
I know Blasian. I didn't know Wasian was now the other term.
Yeah. And now there's Asian fishing. That's like people wanting to look Asian.
Yeah.
So how the tables have turned.
Yeah, people, now it's almost popular to be
how the
looking
turns have
Asian.
tabled.
The turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled hard.
Yes.
You know what? I actually got a comment today on one of my TikTok videos, and the comment was, I hate it when mixed people think they are the victims. Unfollowed. So they unfollowed me because I made a video talking about like Asian,
So petty.
like mixed Asian experiences. And the comment was something along the lines of that. And I think a lot of people don't view us as like victims. I don't view myself as a victim, but I think we're definitely like a minority, and we had experiences, like good experiences as well, but we also had not so good experiences. Definitely built character. Definitely gave me some character, but it wasn't a fun time.
But I'm trying to I don't really want to put a lot of weight into that comment because it's just some random comment on TikTok, but I'm trying to unpack like, what do they mean? Like, so, is it better to be half Asian now than it?
I think they think it's cool. Like, I think it's gotten to the point where people think that being half Asian is great. You get like the best of both cultures. Also, people believe that Eurasians look nice, like an exotic, so maybe it's become popularized. But the reality is, when we were kids, things were not as open-minded. So for you, when you were growing up, do you feel like people I don't know, made fun of you for how you looked, or like not just like the food thing, but like, do you feel like people kind of, you know, made comments about you growing up?
I like was similar to what you said before. Like, people didn't look at me as mixed. They just looked at me as Asian. So I was known as like the Asian kid. So I looked at myself as just Asian.
Right.
So I didn't really identify as like mixed or biracial until like a lot later on. Like when I was late teens.
Right.
But I think I just had like a lot of internalized racism. I was just like, I didn't like being Japanese for a long time. I really didn't like it.
Japanese is so cool now. It's so funny.
Like, it took me a while, but I got there. There, and then like I finally got to the stage where I was like, I love being like Japanese. I love Japan. Like, this is so cool. Like, why didn't I embrace this earlier?
What was the change for you? Like, what made you switch to liking Japan?
I think it was the change in my environment, like just the people around me. Like, I realized like it wasn't a bad thing to be half Asian or like to be Asian, but also like on TV or on social media, I was starting to see people who were like me. So like you have role models to look up to. But like, and when I was little, and I'm sure like when you guys, like until recently, all the Asian characters in movies, like they were always like, you know, the nerds or like the unattractive person. And so like you grow up with that, like that image. And I thought I was that. But yeah, I think like as social media like grew and my role models changed and my friends changed, I could relate to people like that more. And then that's what changed for me, I think.
That's actually huge. And that kind of goes back into the importance of having role models that look like you.
And having like, people like us or like just minorities in entertainment or like out there.
I'm sorry, this just reminded me of how people were so angry at Dragon Ball Evolution, how they turned Goku into a white guy. Because
that was a really old movie,
Goku, right? All the Asians were like, Goku is the one person we can look up to, he's Asian. And then he became not Asian. And so everyone was like, come on, this is the one thing we had.
That was ridiculous.
This was like 2008 though. I don't like terrible movie. Don't watch this. No one watches this movie.
I also made the mistake of watching it.
Because it's Dragon Ball. Everyone wants to watch it.
That was probably one of the worst movies that was ever.
Really? I haven't seen it.
Oh,
you could watch it just if you want to cringe really hard. You could watch that movie.
Don't watch
if you ever feel like cringing, you could watch Dragon Ball Evolution.
If you ever feel like cringing, intentionally watch Dragon Ball Evolution.
Exactly. But I'm glad that we are now, like, entertainment is finally valuing Asian people and even mixed Asian people in entertainment and media, and like we actually have our own place now.
You know what this is, have you ever heard of the bamboo ceiling? Like, I know the term, glass ceiling.
Bamboo ceiling.
So bamboo ceiling is like, so glass ceiling is a term you use in business. Like, it's hard to climb above a certain threshold. It's like it's clear, so you can't see it, but it's there. So it's a glass ceiling. It basically means, I think, is it for women or is it for? Okay, so women, they can't go beyond the glass ceiling.
You can see the top, but you can't go up.
Bamboo ceiling is that, but for Asian people. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, I understand. Like, that actually, I really do understand. Okay, why does this happen? Maybe there's a pay gap. This is back in like 2014. Somebody interviewed me after my video came out, or our video for YouTube, and they wanted to ask about, like, what do you think about the bamboo ceiling? And I had to look it up. So I had to look it up at the time. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it, because like Asians in the office or the workplace in areas where there's not a lot of Asians might not be looked at like as a leader or something like that. So I said in the interview, maybe one way, this is what I felt at the time, and I actually still kind of feel this way, is they said, how can we, break out of this bamboo ceiling or whatever. Right. And I actually said, like, I think we just need more Asians in media so that people can see that they exist and they do all these other things. And because without that, it's very hard to, I don't know, as society, I don't know if this is as humans, it's hard to see. If you don't see it already happening, instead all you see from Asians is like, oh, they work at a laundromat, or they work at nail salon, or they do this and that, or the characters that they portray. Other than Bruce Lee, it's not in like super powerful roles. So
it's true. You're either like a martial artist or you work at a laundromat. Those are kind of the two, or you're just a nerd.
Yeah, or like comedy element. So that's why I said that. That's why I said that at the time. And the guy who was interviewing me seemed like he didn't really agree. Like, maybe I don't know.
What did he say?
He just didn't really have much reaction to what I said. Which. Maybe I just told it poorly. Maybe I said what I wanted to say poorly. But now the way I feel is I still feel like maybe it's a little bit true, just because, especially in the last, I don't know, since 2016, more and more Asian characters have been appearing in the media. Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Shout out to Simu Liu.
Yeah.
Super cool. And Simu Liu is the man. And I feel like people can look at somebody who's a superhero and be like, oh shit, like this guy's cool.
It's cool. It's something you can look up to, and like it really does, like, I mean, in Japanese, you could say like yume ga aru. Like you can like have a dream to be a lead in a superhero movie, or there's just opportunities now that didn't exist before. So now it's like we can I think we can accept that we can be cool, but what people don't realize is that when you're growing up, it wasn't like that. So that's why it was tough.
Yeah. But I still think Japan has like a long way to go, like in terms of that. Like for example, like if I have an audition for, I don't know, like a film or something, and they're looking for someone who is Japanese, they don't cast me. They say I'm too white. Right. But if they're casting for someone who is like gaikokujin, and then like a foreigner, and then I go, they say I'm too Asian looking. But also like I don't want to talk on behalf of like people who are mixed, like black or mixed Indian, because I have friends who are mixed Indian, mixed Sri Lankan, and like it's a lot harder for them than white mixed Japanese people, just because like this is another big conversation, but like beauty standards like in Japan, like it's in Japan, I think the media still has a long way to go in terms of like not just white and Japanese mixed people. Like there's biracial doesn't have one way that it looks. There's like so many different types of biracial people.
Exactly.
What has been going on lately in Japan, like on TV? I haven't paid attention in the past few years.
I think it's still very much like white Japanese mixed people are like really idolized. I don't see any other mixes in TV.
Occasionally, like there is one guy that I know who's on TV who's half black and half Japanese, and he's actually doing quite well on Japanese media because he's quite.
Is it June?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's got a big ass fro. It's just like so. Fro. He's so funny. I've met him. Yeah.
Looks like a foreigner, but he doesn't speak English at all. So that's kind of his selling point. He's
neta.
He's funny. He only speaks Japanese. He's very interesting to watch. So he's on there, and there's a few people who are non-white and Japanese mix, but it's definitely more rare than the Eurasian type. And that's still idealized, I feel like.
So can you jump back into you're saying you auditioned here in Japan?
Yeah, like
recently?
if I go for auditions.
This is can I stop you there just because you're a lawyer and you're getting to do both of these things.
That's very cool.
Law and the modeling gigs and even these auditions for you said even like movie roles.
Yeah.
This is so badass.
It is.
Law and modeling.
Law is like, I would say like 70%. I just do like modeling and that side, entertainment side, and then I would say 30% I do like law work. So, I like later on down the track, I want to do just law, but like for now, I want to do like entertainment and things like that. But
very cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I didn't know you could do both. Like I really didn't know it was an option. So it's very cool.
Yeah, you can do
anything nowadays. It's like soup. Because I don't know if it was because of COVID or what, but yeah, definitely in the past 2 years, it's because there's so many talented people that start to realize, wait a minute, like I don't want to put all my work into this thing for you guys. I want to do my own thing. And then the companies are like, well, we still want you, so we'll meet your demands. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing at least. But I think it's also because we kind of live in this world as ourselves making content,
right?
So it's just naturally that like people around us are kind of doing the same thing, but still.
Is that the same for like doing law? Is it normally that flexible, or?
I think I'm really lucky. Like where I work now, my boss is super supportive. So he is like, if you have any auditions, if you have any shooting jobs, if you need to go overseas, go. Like you can take as many days off as you want. So he's so lovely. Like he's so supportive.
Nice. Right.
And then like I'll like work from home or I'll catch up later. But
so sometimes you're like modeling, doing all these shoots, and then sometimes it's like I gotta sue the socks off this guy. I'm gonna suit up. I gotta sue this. This is divorce. We gotta help this person.
Yesterday I was working on a divorce.
Oh God! Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How much are you allowed to say about that? Because
not much. But it was an international divorce, and
I'm sure a lot of people probably would want to hear a little bit about that, because have you ever been on Japan Life Reddit or Japan like the Reddit where there's a lot of Japan Reddit where do you know what I'm talking about? Where
I know
it's
that
like,
there are, yeah.
I have a kid, but my wife left me and took the kid.
Yes, I know
what do I do?
Yeah, I know that.
I don't know if that's also what you help with, but it probably would be very helpful for some people who get
I've never
short end of
worked
the stick.
on like a case like that before yet, but there's a lot of that like happening, and it's really, really sad.
Yeah,
Yes,
it is.
that's why I don't even go on the Reddit because there's a Japan Life Reddit. There's too much depressing stuff. So
that's so sad.
I
know. Yeah, there's a
be
lot
careful.
of that. But I think it's very important that people like you and well, I don't know. I think it does help being a Hafu to be working on cases like that. Just because you can relate to the issue where like these Hafu kids are being, you know, their judges are deciding on the futures of these Hafu kids. Like, oh, the Hafu child doesn't need to meet their father. Like, that's a lot of the results of these like family court cases, which is like, no, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the right choice here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's cool that, you know, as a Hafu, you can maybe, you know, in the future be touching on work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also real quick, I was just going to mention you did print out like all these questions. I keep seeing them over here. Like I just want to make sure we actually touch on some of these topics.
She's very prepared. It's a very lawyer preparedness. I love it.
Yes. Like
This is very lawyer.
I was like, when you said, what would you like to chat about on the podcast? I was like, I typed it all out and I was like, you know what I would like to talk about this.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And I feel like we're going through the list little by little here.
Yeah.
There's another thing that I wanted to touch on, which we haven't gotten to yet, but you were also doing a beauty pageant, because so you're a model, and you also joined a beauty pageant. And I wanted to know, and I also did a beauty pageant too. I did Miss World. You entered Miss Universe.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When did
that's big.
Yeah,
Miss World, Miss
Yes.
Universe. We have contestants right here.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I also didn't really, it wasn't like a main priority for me for a long time, but I kind of just ended up doing it because I thought it was an experience I wanted to have while I was still in my 20s. But I wanted to know what your experience was and how, first of all, what year you did it, and then how you got into that.
So I did it early last year. Last year? Yeah, it was last year.
Okay.
Was it last year?
Well, you've only been here 2 years, so
yeah, it was last year.
it must be.
And so
yes.
I had absolutely no intention of entering like a pageant. I've never done competitions before. And I was actually in Harajuku with my friend, and I was eating pancakes. And then the guy behind me, like he just like tapped on my shoulder, and he was like, "Are you interested in joining Miss Universe?" And I was like, "No." And I was like going back to my pancakes, and he's like, "I reckon you should try." And then he kind of like really persuaded me into it, and he was pretty much saying, Japanese guy.
So he's like Nihongo de. He said like,
Nihongo de.
Okay, naruhodo.
And he like just like really persuaded me into it, and I was at a like time where I wasn't really using my social media to talk about like social issues, and I wasn't like sharing things I was passionate about, and he was pretty much said like, there's going to be an incredible platform where you can like talk about things you care about and not just be like a model or like an influencer. And I was like, you know what, that sounds great.
Cool.
And like I think it's time where like I start being a little bit more productive on social media and like actually use my platform for good. And so he persuaded me, but that was the reason why I was like, yeah, I want to try it out. So
Very cool.
yeah. What was your like reason to join?
That's a good question. I guess it was kind of similar to that. I realized in the case of Miss World, so Miss Universe, Miss World, these are some of the two top beauty pageants that exist. So it was kind of appealing to me, the bigger ones. But Miss World in particular, they have a really strong focus on, like their motto is beauty with a purpose. And their focus is humanitarianism. So I think when the pageant first started in England, the founder wanted to use like beautiful women as a way to promote awareness for various social issues, which is kind of a clever idea, because if nobody's paying attention to social issues on a normal basis, if you get a really pretty girl to talk about it, then maybe they'd listen. So actually the concept is kind of genius.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
yeah, the concept is genius.
I can't even say much. I'm just like listening at this point. You guys have the experience. I'm like, I need to let you guys talk and like have this insight of what's going on here. But yeah.
But what I realized is like pageants are not all about just being beautiful. It's not they don't judge you based on your beauty for the most part. Like you have to work really hard and like you kind of get in shape and stuff, but the main part of it is not your looks. It's mostly what you can bring to the table in terms of just being a really great public figure, charismatic, and having a strong goal. And yeah, I thought that was one of the things that drew me to Miss World. It was like, well, you can actually work toward a purpose that can help society. So I thought that was cool. And I thought, yeah, it was kind of in my mind to try a pageant at some point, because people had encouraged me to do it in the past as well. Like they said to me Miss Universe too. Some friends, they're like, you could do it. And I was like, there's no way I could do Miss Universe. I'm not tall enough. Like I'm definitely not skinny enough. I just thought I couldn't do it. And then I think when I got to the end of my 20s, I was like, well, why not just try it and see if I get in? And I did. So that was I was like, oh, okay, I guess should have done it earlier maybe. Oops, I didn't know that I would get it.
Waited till the last minute.
The last minute. I didn't think that I could do it, but yeah, so that was how I started.
Did you like it?
That's a good question. I did like it as an experience. I think it was a really cool, it was just an experience that you would never have otherwise. Pageants are very unique, and they really test you on so many different facets of your personality, like your physicality. They do like exercise tests. Social media is part of the test as well now. That part I wasn't a huge fan of, so there was pros and cons.
Yeah.
But in general, it was a cool learning experience.
Yeah.
But how was it for you?
As an experience, it was really cool, and I got to meet like really amazing like other women, and it was like definitely out of my comfort zone. So I feel like I got to grow a little bit, but there was a lot of just things that I just didn't really agree with, like the social media, like you said, but also there was like different. It wasn't all negative. It was fun. Sometimes it was fun, but it was a lot of hard work, and I just like midway through it I just felt like it wasn't really my thing, and I was actually like getting ready to pull out, but then I got COVID, and then I got really sick, and so I had to quit. So that was kind of good timing.
COVID decided for you. I'll pull out.
Yeah,
that was the reason you had to pull out in the end.
Because I got COVID and I was sick for like 2 months.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, COVID's still a thing. That was Omicron at that time. Ooh, okay.
Like,
2 months? Isn't that pretty long?
I was like having really bad post-COVID symptoms. Like I was like fainting every day for like weeks.
What?
So it was pretty bad.
My gosh. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you made it through that.
I'm glad you're okay now. That sounds like it was not a fun time.
Yeah, not the best.
Yes.
Not the best. Wouldn't do it again. 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
1 out of 10. Yeah, what was that one for?
It's like, I grew from the experience.
I got out of Miss Universe. I got out of Miss Universe.
I got a good story out of it. Oh yeah, I got out of Miss Universe.
Wait, so why were you trying to pull out though? You just felt like it wasn't really you to be in this like Miss Universe type contest in terms of the social media, or you felt, what did you feel that made you actually want to withdraw?
There were times when I still felt like the competition itself was kind of old-fashioned, like very narrow-minded sometimes. Like the whole physicality, like they wanted you to be a certain size by a certain time, and I didn't really agree with that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Did they actually have a requirement for you? Like, you guys need to be this measurement?
There wasn't like a specific requirement, but it would be very like implied. It would be like, you guys want to look your best, right? You're gonna work hard. Are you gonna work hard?
Right?
Wow.
So it's like, okay,
Look at that fat. You want to burn that fat? You do, don't you? It's
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top, like
Yeah.
what I would imagine based off
Like,
of
yeah.
what
So
I've
it was
seen.
like very under the table. Is that the phrase? Like under the
see that.
table, like
Like,
comments that were like, oh, I guess I gotta
Are
work
they-
out, which I
would-
wasn't. I'm not really a fan of stuff like that. Like I want to be this and then do what I want to do. Like I don't want to change for anyone. So yeah.
that's
very
strong. That's
commendable. Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting to hear about because I do think that the different pageants are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Slip hook. We were a little stuffy on the chair.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I heard Miss World, they don't have like a swimwear.
They don't. Yeah, that's a really big thing. They don't. They used to have a swimwear competition like way back, like historically, but they removed it. I think it was in order to focus more on the humanitarian side because it seemed a little antiquated.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's good. Like my dad was like, "Why are you like walking on a stage in swimwear and getting judged and compared to other girls?" And I was like, "True, Dad. That's good. That's a good one. You got me."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
didn't have an answer for it, and I was like, "That's really true." Like, I think that's one of the things that I just couldn't agree with, and but I don't like. I'm not saying like it's a bad competition or it's like you shouldn't do it. I think it's a great platform, and I think it's a really good experience. But you have to be a certain person to be able to do it. I reckon it's really hard.
I agree. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I do feel the same way. I think that maybe I wasn't quite cut out for making it in a pageant. Like, I did it for the first time. I think if I did it again, I would be able to go into it with more knowledge and I'd understand more what they're looking for.
It's tough. It was really tough. Like there were times when we would like all the girls would be lined up and then like one of like the judges or one of the coaches, they would like come up to us and be like, "Take your shoes off." And then we'd be like, "Okay." And then if you didn't have your toenails polished, you'd get in trouble. So it was like,
oh man, it's like boot camp or something.
yeah, just like little things like that.
Strict.
It was strict, and I just wasn't really into that kind of thing. So
I mean,
Wow.
because it's a pageant, but also it's like competition, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand like how do I say this? Like if you've ever competed in sports before, though, it's still, you're supposed to win.
Yes.
And you're supposed to, or even like a bodybuilding competition or aesthetic. That's what it kind of feels like to me.
Yeah.
Like if they make you want to, be in a bikini, it almost makes me feel like, if you're in a bodybuilding competition, yes, everyone has a great body. Everyone, you can respect the work that they put in. But at the same time, it's like, you have to, it's hard because you have to take out salt and water like 2 weeks before the competition. Everyone's like so ripped, like on edge. It's not like a healthy thing
Right.
for
It's
bodybuilding
definitely
even.
not healthy.
But it's like you do it because you want to win. You want to like, it's an accomplishment, all this stuff. So
Yeah.
Yes.
some people really like that. It pushes them. So
Yeah.
So,
it is a good motivator. That is, if your goal was to like look a certain way, then it is a good motivator because like what better time to lose weight than like for a beauty competition or like a bodybuilding
Yeah.
competition. Like it does push you. But I think the aspect about beauty pageants nowadays that's a little bit like conflicting is the fact that they're putting a lot of emphasis on having a humanitarian cause and like being somebody who cares about these things, plus also putting a lot of effort or emphasis on your physical appearance. So it's like, it's kind of like, which do you want? Like if it's a bodybuilding competition, they don't ask you to talk about like your cause. It's like the only purpose is to look a certain way. So it's like, I get that. But for these pageants, it's like they want you to be everything. And it is a lot.
Yeah, so halfway through I was like, what does my cause have anything to do with my toes? Like my toenail color. Like I think that's where I kind of
drew the line.
Maybe,
You're like,
maybe I'm not really cut out for this.
Did they this is obviously Miss World Japan and Miss Universe Japan. Were there a lot of mixed Japanese people in the competition, or were you guys like a few amount, or what? Did you feel anything about how they wanted international faces or like half faces or anything like that?
That's a good question. I think actually there might be more Hafus in Miss Universe.
There was a lot. It was really international. Like there was a lot of girls who could speak English. There was a lot of mixed girls. That's where I met one of my closest friends. She's mixed Sri Lankan, Japanese.
Cool.
So yeah, it was a really international group, which was really great. And I think the girl who won it that year, she was Korean American.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Korean Japanese American. So yeah, it was.
Oh, Judy.
Yeah.
Wait, you were in the same year?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's my friend.
Really?
Judy Watanabe.
Judy Watanabe.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
she's...
what? You were in the same year?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Look at that.
Okay, that's
Wait,
so
how do you know
crazy.
Judy?
Judy, she used to work at Tokyo Creative, which is a YouTube channel and company that I used to host
she worked
videos
at
for.
Tokyo Creative?
She did work at Tokyo Creative before, and at the time she was entering Miss World.
Do you know Tokyo Creative? It's a creative agency here. It's pretty big for the, I think, not expat community. Basically, people who speak English but want to learn about Japan. Tokyo Creative is kind of like, they make a lot of content with content creators like
And they're kind of
Akidiras.
almost like a little agency for the local Japan vloggers who are like kaigai muke, like they make videos.
How much do you know about the
Like that.
YouTube like Japan scene?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, then
so, yeah,
we can't
that
drop
makes
any
sense,
names.
But a lot of the big Japan YouTubers are kind of with Tokyo Creative.
Oh.
Abroad in Japan, Chris Broad, maybe.
What?
Oh god,
No.
Yeah, she's on TikTok.
She's too new.
YouTube is. Oh man, the OGs are gonna. They need to hit the young ones.
It's true. But yeah, that's the kind of company it was, and Judy was working there, so that's how I first met her.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and she was doing Miss World at that time, and then I kind of was inspired to try. I think maybe from that as well.
Really?
So I did Miss World the year after her. And then she took a break, and then she did Miss Universe. So that was the same year as you. That's
Do we need to get Judy on this podcast?
I think we do.
That's-
Yeah.
Oh my god, why
Judy
she?
Watanabe.
Judy
Super
Watanabe.
Japan.
Yeah,
Yes.
look her up. Look her up.
That's crazy. That's so cool. A very small world.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were a lot of Hafus at that time.
There
right?
was, yeah.
That's very cool. I think Miss Universe Japan is a little bit more international, and they have a stronger focus on being able to speak English well. In the case of Miss World, I didn't really feel that at all. Actually, I think most of the people there were not very good at speaking
Oh
English.
shit! Sorry, I heard not very good. I was like, whoa, she's really throwing
No.
Miss
They
World
were-
under the
they were
bus.
Fine. No. The contestants were fine.
Oh
I was just
my
surprised
God.
how
Shizuka.
most of the
I was about to
contestants
say.
didn't really speak English, because the reason why I think this isn't sort of an issue is because the person who wins the national competition needs to go to the international competition. So it's kind of necessary to speak English well in order to present well your presentation about your cause, and then basically perform well on the global stage. So I was like, they should focus on getting more people who are really good English speakers. There was only one other girl there who was Hafu, I think, at the time. But she didn't really speak English that well either, because she grew up in Japan. The only other girl who was a native English speaker like me, she was a Kikoku Shijo, or a girl who is Japanese but grew up abroad in America. And she ended up winning Miss World last year.
Really?
Yeah, she did it again. And she
good on
joined
her.
the second time and she got it. So I was like, I was very proud of her.
I wonder, is it maybe they don't want, or they're not looking for so many English speakers to differentiate themselves from Miss Universe, or they want to give chance to Japanese people who, not everyone speaks English, so maybe they're like, we can't ostracize everyone who doesn't speak English.
I don't know if they actually are trying to do it that way. I think they would like to get more English speakers. I'm wondering if maybe just Miss World doesn't have as much, people don't know it as well as Miss Universe. I think maybe the Hafus end up going to Universe.
Are these pageants, are they going up in popularity or down? Like, do you have any idea? Is it the same?
Question.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
I remember it was like Miss Universe was really big, and now I don't know if I'm just getting older and not even paying attention, but I just can't tell if is this like the way that people still want to. I don't know if there needs to be an upheaval of like how pageants are done. I mean, you were saying like bikini contest, is this necessary, right? So it's just I don't know, there's too much to unpack,
so many things,
too much to unpack here.
I think for Miss Universe it's just a little bit too much of a tradition at this point. Like that was just how it's always been. People expect the bikini and the dress, the evening gown portion of that competition, and the question in Universe, it's the question and answer style. In Miss World, you actually give a full presentation about your cause.
Oh, okay.
You have the big screen, your like PowerPoint, or I mean, really? What during the test we had to do that, and then I think on the actual stage you're just giving a big speech about it, basically. So it's a very different style. I think Miss World is definitely less image focused and more cause focused. So if you really care about an issue, that might be the one that's better to go with. So I think that World is leaning toward being more modern, less image focused. Universe is still a little bit traditional.
I guess I'm just thinking about the platform. Like the platform now, you know, it makes sense why it existed before because of the platform. But now we have social media. You can have your own platform. Sharnie's got her own platform that I feel like, I don't know how you feel about this, but you could do more with your own personal platform maybe than a competition.
Yeah, I feel like...
And you're more free to speak on behalf of what you believe.
That was what I felt. I felt more freedom doing it like on my own platform. Whereas when I was like in the competition, I felt really restricted. I felt like I had to be like a certain certain shape or wear a certain like outfit or talk a certain way, and
because they got their brand, right? And if you're Miss Universe, you have to be that brand.
Yes.
So, and this is where I don't know how this is this relatable. You guys know Try Guys, right?
Yes.
Do you know the Try Guys? I don't know. I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this example work. So the Try Guys, big platform, big platform, right? Would not have existed without YouTube and all social media. They were parodied, so they did a apology type video for what happened with Ned cheating on his wife, all this stuff. So they had the 3 Try Guys, Eugene, the other 2 guys, I forgot their names.
Keith and Zach. There we go.
there we go. The Try Guys apologized, and their apology video kind of went viral. And SNL, Saturday Night Live, major media company, is parodied their apology. Normally, this would have been the other way around. You know, SNL makes something and then YouTubers parody it. This was flip the other way around, which is making me think, okay, all these traditional platforms are like on this downtrend, whereas you could just have your own platform and say your own thing, and it's at this point even bigger because you have full control over it. You have, you know, your social media that you can put your own effort into. It's like, why wouldn't you do that instead of trying to, you know, join something that, you know, if anything, it's almost like they could be benefiting off of you joining them rather than you just staying who you are.
That's a really good point, and I think that's well demonstrated by the fact that when they are looking for girls to enter these pageants nowadays, they do look at your social media following.
See, they know.
Yeah,
they want.
They do. Like, not everybody who is selected for the competition has a large following. Like, that's not the only criteria, but it is a plus. So if you do fit the other criteria and you have following, it's like, please join the competition.
Yes.
Please. And, you know, post about our sponsors and, like, you know, that's what they want you to do.
And this is what I'm saying, where even in jobs, law, in what I do, I have a contract with a manufacturing company. But it's very flexible. It's because people are go-getters themselves and they're working hard. So you want some sort of talent like that, but you know that you can't like fully take it anymore. So companies are more flexible with letting you have your own thing and putting some effort into their company because they know you'll do the work well or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, so many things that I've realized in the past few years, but
yeah, being a like a freelancer and I don't know, somebody who can create their own content, I think that's kind of where the power is nowadays. And I think in all forms of like traditional media are starting to go down.
Shizuka, make some reels.
Why?
She just downloaded CapCut.
Okay, yeah, I need to start making the reels apparently.
Did you convince yourself right now? Like, oh yeah,
Did you
the
download
platform.
CapCut?
I just downloaded it.
Before this podcast.
Were telling me I need to download CapCut because it makes reels super easy, apparently.
Yes.
If it doesn't, I'm going to be upset.
It will, don't worry.
But I'll give it a try.
I want to make sure let's touch up on anything else you missed.
Yeah, was there anything else that we missed?
There's so much. I'm sorry, you wrote so much.
But I
can
made
read
sure
it
that
out.
we were kind of following through it. So, was there anything else that you wanted to add on this conversation about being a Hafu and growing up in Australia?
Did I talk? Maybe I talked too. Oh, what did I say? I think I said like most of my experiences were like negative, but I just want to like clarify, like there's obviously like a lot of positive things about being mixed, and like I absolutely love it. And like for anyone who like might be listening to this, like who are younger than us, like it's definitely a great thing to be mixed. And maybe I said a few things that made it sound like I had a really kawaii childhood, but definitely wasn't the case. Like I was a very happy kid.
That's good to hear. So like you did have difficulties, but you came out of it stronger.
Yeah.
You still found the positives like, while growing up.
Yeah.
And
I think it makes
to embrace it.
Yeah, it makes sense when you're older. And like I know like that might suck to hear when you're young because you have to wait. But for me, it made sense. Like when I was older, I was like, oh, that's why I had to go through all that. Like, but some people just didn't understand. But I think like now things are changing. So
yeah.
That's what you call character development.
Character development.
You gotta have the character development.
Like sprinkle a little bit of like trauma. But mostly positive. Mostly positives.
Exactly. You gotta have the balance, and then you come out of it a stronger person and a more well-rounded person, I think.
Also, there's so many good things. Japanese food is so good. There's so like Japanese, and then anime. You get to live in Japan. They get to do all this stuff. So yeah, it's awesome. Like
it is. I think once you become an adult, you can appreciate all of that basically. And living in Japan, I mean, we didn't really have a chance to touch on that part of it, but living in Japan allows you to see another side of being Hafu, and maybe you can appreciate some sides of being Hafu that you couldn't appreciate when you were growing up in like your home country where they didn't appreciate it as much. So it's nice to live in both countries, I guess, like if you're a Hafu.
Oh, that's a good question though. So Sharnie's 24. Do you still use Hafu? I need to ask this question. Or are you using mixed or?
Yeah, I've been saying mixed and biracial.
Even in Japanese?
Mikusu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually. Because, so actually it was my dad that said it to me, but he said, you're not 50% Japanese and 50% Australian. You're 100% Japanese. You're 100% Australian. So you're 200%. So you're double. So he calls me double.
Okay, the double here.
I refer to myself as mixed or biracial just because I think Hafu, like the word is just normalized in Japan, but when you think about it, it can like be dehumanizing, like it's like reducing you.
Sorry, this is called the Half and Half podcast.
No. But it's because it's like normalized in Japan. Like it wasn't meant to be.
Yes.
It wasn't meant to be offensive.
But also, I don't want to go too deep into it. Half and half is like because it's me and Shizuka. So it's like half, like a sandwich is half and half.
So the thing is that like
I'm not even.
You're one toast and he's one toast.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So,
but it's also
halves of a whole making this podcast. But as individuals, we're still full,
hot,
so it's all okay.
So I don't have a problem saying Hafu or half Japanese, because I don't take that as upon myself that I'm like lesser.
Yeah.
But I also would say lately, like sometimes I'll say mixed, like mixed Japanese or mixed, like in Japanese katakana, just say mikusu, because there are people who are like 3/4, 1/4.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, or it's like so many mixes like that. It's to say half isn't even accurate. So I just say mixed. And it also sounds nice, I think. Like, I'm mixed Japanese rather than...
Mikusu Nihonjin. I've just never said it before in Japanese.
It is... People say that, though, right?
Mikusu.
Mikusu, yeah.
I might try saying it. I've just been using Hafu out of convenience sake, to be
What's
honest.
Hapa? H-A-P-A. What's that?
Hapa is the Hawaiian word for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've got Kai over here. He's Hapa.
Yes.
That's what you grew up with, right?
Yeah,
Hapa. Hapa.
Yeah.
Hapa haole. Because haole is
White.
white.
So hapa haole means you're half white and then mix.
Yes. Hapa haole means half white and Asian. Just any Asian, right? Or Hawaii.
Let's just go with hapa.
Just say Hapa.
Howie, that's so
There's-
cute.
so-
Howie.
Haole, right?
Oh,
Haole means white. I don't know if it's cute. I think it's a little bit.
Hapa haole just
Isn't it
means
a little derogatory?
of part white ancestry or origin.
Oh,
Okay, he just looked it up.
Yeah.
it sounds cute. To the
Because it sounds like hapa. Hapa sounds like it's a leaf.
Hapa
Leaf in Japanese.
leaf. It is
Yes.
kind of cute.
Right. So
So
Yeah.
I grew up saying hapa,
Mhm.
and then I think when I came here, everyone was saying hafu more. So
Yeah.
I started using hafu more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, language
That's the
does
same
can
with
like
me.
really dictate a lot.
Your surroundings definitely influence how you refer to
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah. The only reason I say hafu is because I moved to Japan. When I was in Canada, I didn't know that was the term, I think.
Did you say you're half Japanese?
I just said the long form. I'm half Japanese and I'm half Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I think I didn't say half Canadian because I was Canadian. Like, Canadian is not a race, it's a nationality.
Mhm.
So I would say I'm Canadian. I just said I was half Japanese.
Yeah,
that was all I said.
for me too. My mom's Japanese, so I'm half Japanese.
Yeah.
That was the that was the understanding.
Yeah, same. I always said half Japanese.
Interesting.
Interesting
okay.
about the terminology.
Mix. Yeah. But I have started saying that a little bit more. Like
Cool.
mixed
I'm gonna try.
Japanese.
I'm gonna
Mixed.
try and then.
Are you mixed? It's all, I don't know.
mix it is
Who knows? Like in a few years, people might be offended by mixed because it's like a mixed salad or something.
mixed bag?
Like I don't know, mixed bag. Like mixed bag.
You never know what you're gonna expect with that one.
they're
Mixed bag.
they're mixed up. Oh god.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's definitely something to just keep in mind about your terminology. I might try saying mix and just like see and just kind of throw it at some Japanese people and see how they react. They're like,
You should do
you're
this.
like, "Hafu desu ka? Mix it is."
Just see, just to see.
Oh,
Oh, ミックス。
ミックス。
混ざってるってこと。
え、どういうことですか? I'm pretty sure they'd ask me what that means. Like, what are you? They'd probably start asking.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's fun to just challenge those concepts and like.
We have the
introduce-
opportunity to do that, so
We do.
you do. Yeah, just do it. Okay,
Yeah, but I
before.
think that pretty much covers everything that we wanted to talk about.
Oh no, not everything.
No?
You're supposed to do the Australian accent challenge now.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Shizuka-
part of it?
Yes, we needed to see this. Okay.
Water.
Okay, so
I can't do it.
okay, Max can
All I
join
know is
too. Max, if it's gonna be a
water.
challenge, it can't just be me and Sharnie because it's not a challenge for her.
Okay.
She can do
Give us the challenge here.
Okay, you can say any word.
It has to
And
be
then we'll
it has to
try
be a
and-
full sentence.
We'll
I
try and
think.
say it.
Okay. Well, I got to think of something like really bogan.
Even you could probably. I gotta think
know
of
if I
something
can.
very. Fudge. I'm so bad at this. All right.
Usually in the Arvo, I like to have an Avo sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
With
let's stop
some-
it there. Okay.
With some water.
Okay. Usually in the Arvo, oh no, it's already screwed up. I like to have an Arvo sandwich. Now it's turned British now. With a glass of water.
The water was good.
The water was
The water
good.
was spot on.
I think if it's shorter, I can maybe get it. If it's too long, my brain is like, what was the, what were the
What did we
inflections?
say? I like to have a glass of water in the avo sandwich.
Avor.
You know what? I watched a YouTube video trying to explain the accents, and I
What
already
is
forgot it.
Arvo short for again?
Afternoon.
Oh, that's
In the
right.
Arvo. Oh.
Yes, I remember that. I heard that before. In the Arvar.
What is it? The way ER ends or something? How do you end ER?
What do you mean ER?
It all ends the same, like never. I never
Water.
want a tomato.
Tomato.
I never. She's cringing so hard. Sharnie cannot take.
Tomato.
I say tomato.
Tomato.
I
okay.
never
I think it depends on the
want
area
to
too. Some
eat
people
a
really say
tomato.
or.
My
Like,
dad's
no.
a
Tomato. I have a treasure in my treasure. No, wait, treasure. Yes. Open my treasure chest. What? That wasn't even close, and I knew it. I'm done. I'm done. You try something.
What did I say last time? What in the other video?
I think you said tomatoes instead.
Tomato.
I'm getting confused now.
Tomato. Potato.
Say, all right,
Tomato.
Shizuka, you have to say, that's not a knife, this is a knife. That's not a knife, this is a knife.
That's not a knife. It's a... What is it? What's the whole sentence?
This is... You had it.
That's what it was. I remember. That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Well, that's all right. That was pretty good.
She's got it. Yeah, Shizuka's pretty good at this.
That's not a knife.
My turn. That's not a... That's not a knife. Knife? That's not a knife. This is a knife. Oh, it hurts me to...
So sad.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad.
What accent is that?
I'm so sad.
Because if it's a really
you say it.
like a Bogan accent, I feel like they really are like no. That's not even Bogan. That's just like some areas they're really like no. I like. What would you like? I don't know. I like prawns.
Crocodiles.
I love prawns and Australian crocs. There are many large crocs in Australia.
Ooh. How was that?
That's all I can say. That's sort of it. And the main thing that I can say is water.
Water's good.
That's the one. That's the one.
I'd like a glass of water.
Our Australian fans hate us right now. They're cringing so hard.
I'd like a glass of water.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. Oh
Yeah.
man. Okay, keep it.
No.
Yeah. Nah. She's so good at.
That was good.
Nah.
I feel like if you were in a circle of Australians, you would just start copying what they're saying.
I can
do it
copy
very well.
a little bit if there's a lot.
This is another one of Shizuka's hidden talents.
It's not even that good. It's just like it's sort of in there.
Yes. But on that note, maybe we should end the podcast with this accent challenge.
To end today's podcast. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for being a part of this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, shit.
It was
okay.
so
I thought you were
much
gonna
fun.
judge my
It was
accent
so
right now.
much fun to have you today.
Oh, thanks. It was lovely to talk to you.
It was so lovely to talk to you too. No, it's British again. It's like a
You turn
fine,
into Hermione
it's a fine
halfway.
line between British and Australian.
It's like you slowly turn into Hermione Granger as you're talking.
Harry. It's so nice. It's so nice to talk to you today. That's the British. Because I'm Hermione Granger.
Oh, that's good.
Is it
See?
good?
This is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I love Harry Potter.
Anyway, it's enough
Shizuka
accents.
can do everything.
It's enough accents. I need to practice more.
Anyway, that's the end. We'll cut it here so we don't have things too long. But thank you again, Sharnie. So
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. It was so much fun.
It's been a good discussion. Law, modeling, beauty standards, all this stuff.
Beauty pageants, and just growing up as a hafu in Australia and in Japan.
If you want to see more from her, make sure to check out her Instagram and Twitter, TikTok and Instagram. That's where all the people are now.
That's
so
where all the good stuff is.
all the
And you
dank
have a
memes.
YouTube channel. I think all of the links are on your Instagram.
It is, yeah. So you can check out my Instagram for my links, and yeah, you can probably see them there.
Yes.
Yes.
Stay up on it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Thank you so much, guys. See you next
Bye.
time. Bye.
Even slowpoke.